The defendant will rise, face the jury, and hearken to its verdicts.
Well, I wasn't totally surprised with the verdict. It was a tough case for the prosecution. And, ultimately the jury did its job and said the state didn't meet its burden of proof.
Kyle H. Rittenhouse, not guilty.
I think the moment where the one victim who lived admitted that his gun was facing Rittenhouse before Rittenhouse pulled the trigger. So I think that was pretty pivotal for that witness.
Pointed your gun at him, advanced on him with your gun, now your hands down, pointed at him. Then he fired, right?
Correct.
I think the other pivotal part really was Rittenhouse's testimony. I've watched a lot of defendants take the stand, and usually the state is happy when a defendant takes a stand because they usually wind up convicting themselves. They give inconsistent stories, they're all over the place. Rittenhouse was so well rehearsed. He never gave an inch to the prosecution. And every time they started saying, and you intended to kill him, no, I was just trying to stop him from hurting me. And he said that over and over and over again.
You intended to kill Anthony Hubert at that moment, didn't you?
No. If I didn't pull the trigger, I thought Mr. Hubert was going to kill me.
So I think he did himself a lot of good by taking the stand. And he also came off as this little boy. Might people have pursued it seen it differently if he were a person of color? I'm not so naive to say that I think that might have happened, and that would have been wrong, particularly with a primarily white jury and race being a tough issue with the police shooting and things. It's hard to say.
Stand with Kyle.
It's not just a case. It does have implications. I'm afraid that some people will read that case as saying it's all right to come into protests and counter protests with a loaded rifle, in this case an AR-15, say you're there carrying it for self-defense, and people winding up getting shot or killed. And the problem is the more guns that are introduced on both sides of an issue, the more likely that somebody or groups of people are going to be shot and killed. Until we get to some place of peace on this Second Amendment and when it applies and when it doesn't, and who can carry guns and under what circumstances, I think it's going to continue to be a really tough issue.